Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be covering tank items for Season 14, so if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, and let's get into it. Remember, there are a couple of items which have been removed, a couple of additional magic resist options, and yeah, so moving into the items, Zeke's Convergence is staying the same cost at 2.2k, the health is staying at 200, 250 mana, 45 armor is now 30 armor, 15 ability haste is now 20 ability haste, and they've completely changed what it does. It no longer is an active link, which gave your ally either on hit or ability power, ability hit application. It now gives the Force Fire Tempest, which is kind of similar to old Zeke's, where you now have a storm around you, which lasts for 5 seconds, dealing 50 magic damage per second and slowing enemies by 30%. This is very nice on the likes of Leona and people who really value being able to stick to you. Yeah, not a bad change. The other one was kind of awkward to play around sometimes. Some champions really benefited from it, whilst others really struggled. There were some really broken interactions with it though. Like if you had a strong ability and on-hit player, then you could really make use of Zeke's as a really powerful option. However, a lot of the time people just wanted a more simplistic item, and the new Zeke's is kind of that. So Knight's Vow is very small on this one. It's, yeah, a lot of text, so I'll just quickly cover it. 2,200 staying the same price. 350 health is now 300. Armor has gone up by 20. 15 ability haste. The base health regen is gone. The active pledge is staying the same, I believe. Whilst your worthy ally is nearby, redirect 10% of pre-mitigation damage they take to you, and heal 10% of the damage dealt by your worthy ally to champions. If they have less than 30% health, the damage reduction is increased to 20%, which is staying the same as the old one. Overall, the stat line looks a bit better. I would actually 50 health and 125% base health regen. Arguably fairly similar for 20 armor. It depends if you're building this into a very AD heavy comps. Looking at the Iron Solari is no longer a mythic. It has gone down 100 gold in cost. The armor, the magic resist, and the health are all staying the same. However, it is losing 10 ability haste. The shield is staying the same as well. It is a 200 to 360 ally scaling shield. And yeah, it doesn't have a mythic passive. So overall, not a bad change. Losing a bit of ability haste and losing consecrate is gonna hurt, definitely. But for going down 100 gold in cost, it is a strong option if you do need the anti-burst. And yeah, a lot of champions will definitely want to pick this up if they're playing more like so a lot of like hybrid enchanters will for sure want this, like Renata, for example, will definitely want an item like this. Frozen Heart is going down 400 gold in cost. It is going down 20 armor. The mana is staying the same at 400. The ability haste is staying the same at 20. Reduce the attack speed of nearby enemies by 20% is staying the same. And Rock Solid is also staying the same, I believe. It is a 5 flat with a 0.35% health scaler, and it is capped at 20% of the attack's damage. Overall, quite nice. It's still a very good option. For 400 gold going down 400 gold in cost for only losing 20 armor is also not a bad kind of price to pay. So yeah, I definitely see Frozen Heart as a strong option if you need an item like this. Winter's Approach is going down 200 gold in cost. The stat line is staying the same. So overall, just makes it more accessible. Winter's Approach was a very underbuilt item. A lot of champions, bar like Tarek, just didn't really feel the need to buy it. Having 200 gold shaved off the cost of it definitely makes it more approachable as an option. Abyssal Mask is staying the same cost. It is actually just staying completely the same as an item. So yeah, Abyssal Mask in a very strong spot at the moment, should stay in a very strong spot. Trailblazer is one of the new items. It has, it costs 2,400, 250 health, 40 armor, 5% movement speed. Was moving, gain 20% bonus movement speed. At max speed, create a trail that speeds up allied champions' movement speed by 5% of yours. Your next attack discharges the bonus movement speed, and melee champions slow the target for 50% instead. So, not a bad item. Definitely, it's kind of weak on the stat line, but for movement speed, it very much acts as like a good kind of like tanky, semi-offensive support option. I don't see a lot of main tanks building this. Maybe something like a Singe, possibly, if they really do like value how cheap it is and just the stat line within that game, as it is a decent amount of movement speed, and giving allies movement speed is always a nice thing. So yeah, if he's looking for a cheaper option, it is definitely something there. Anathema's is 2,500 gold in cost. It is actually just staying exactly the same. So, yeah, not too bad. Anathema's is not a bad item in its current state. It's just unique and when you want to pick it up, and oftentimes people just tend to skip it because it isn't as recommended as other options. However, it definitely does have a place in the game, and some champions really can abuse it. Iceborne Gauntlet is going, well, it's no longer a mythic, so it's going down 400 gold in cost. The health is going down by 100, 50 armor, staying the same, losing 5 ability haste. Spellblade is nerfed quite heavily. It no longer has the enhanced effect against a single target, and no longer has the damage reduction. It now does, well, it does the same amount of damage and slows for 50%, for 2 seconds, with a 4% health scaler. So overall, relatively large enough towards Iceborne Gauntlet. I don't see a huge amount of champions picking this up over the other Sheen options, but some like Alawi and there was one other option which I used, Arcasante, will definitely like this still as an option. So those two will probably continue to pick it up in situations where it makes sense. Full Mail is staying exactly the same. Price, health, armor. So Full Mail in a pretty good spot at the moment. Still a very strong rush option on Rammus. Randuin's Omen is going to stay the same in cost, 400 health, 60 armor is now 55 armor, the Rock Solid damage reduction is staying the same, and Resilience is going up by 5%, so Critical Strike still 5% less damage due from 25%. Overall, this is a nice change, like 5 armor for a bit less damage on Critical Strikes against you is positive for what you want to build the item for, because you're very often building this against like the likes of Yasuo, Yone, crit heavy comps where we only see something like a Caitlyn who's going crit. Sunfire is staying, well, it's actually going down 50 health. Past that, it is staying the same. Oh no, it's also losing 3 damage on the Immolate as well. So down 50 health, losing 3 damage on Immolate. Its past that is staying the same, so it is a relatively large enough towards Sunfire's, losing a bit of damage and a bit of health. And then Unending Despair is it's 2,800 gold, 400 health, 55 armor, 10 ability haste. Every 7 seconds whilst in combat with champions, deal 30 plus 3% bonus health with a 30 to 50 scalar. Magic damage to nearby enemy champions, healing for 250% of the damage dealt. So it is a very nice Amumu item. It's a nice it's very much just what if you're a tank which can stick to a target, then it's really strong as an option. Even things like Rammus would definitely benefit from an item like this. Force of Nature is staying the same in cost. It has 400 health, 16 magic resist, it's now 55 magic resist, 5 movement speed on both parts. Absorb is now just under Steadfast. Taking magic damage from enemy champions grants a stack up to 8 stacks, whilst the 8 stacks of Steadfast gain 70 magic resist and 10% movement speed. So there is no build up. There is just the fact that when you get the 8 stacks of Steadfast, you now gain 70 magic resist and 10% increased movement speed. So this is a 125 magic resist item if you can stack it up, which is very strong against the likes of Mordekaiser, against the likes of Amumu, champs like this. Just in general against Burn Mages as well, it's really going to hurt them. Hollow Radiance is the new magic resist Sunfire's option. It is 2,800 gold in cost, 600 health, 40 magic resist, 100% base health regen. Taking damage or dealing damage causes you to begin dealing 10 with a 1.75% bonus health scaler. Magic damage per second to nearby enemy champions increases against minions. Taking or dealing damage refreshes the duration of this effect. Desolate. Killing an enemy deals 20 plus 3.5% bonus magic damage in an area around them. This is very good against wave clear, against camps, stuff like this. So yeah, I imagine this will just be the option you go if enemy comp has a lot of magic resist, and then Sunfires will be the option you go if enemy comp has a lot of armor. You're still very much open with Barmies into a lot of or as a lot of tanks, especially if you are looking for the wave clear. But there is now more options, so that's quite nice. Spirit's Visage is 2,900 gold in cost. It is doing the same stat line wise, and the bonus vitality is staying the same. So Spirits is completely the same item. Not in a bad spot at the moment. It's not as popular as it used to be when it was purely a healing based item. But it still works quite nicely for both. The likes of Shen will really value this if he's opting into some healing, as he provides a lot of shielding on himself with his passive. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. 2,900 gold in cost. It is 400 health. It is 80 magic resist, 150% base health regen. After not taking magic damage for 12 seconds, gain a magic shield for 20% of your maximum health. So this is a very nice Cho'Gath Scion Tahm Kench, like a heavy health stacking item. This will pair really well with Heartsteel. A lot of champions will definitely value this if they do have the Heartsteel pairing. And into very heavy AP burst comps, it is really powerful. So, really strong item right here. Dead Man's Plate is staying the same in cost. It is 300 health, 45 armor, 5% movement speed. However, it has lost the slow effect on it. It no longer does a slow if you're a melee champion, but it's still a moving, building up to 40% bonus movement speed. Your next attack discharges build up movement speed to deal a bonus amount of damage. Unsinkable. The strength of movement slowing effects is reduced by 25%. So this will be very much the singed item. If you are not going the other option, Trailblazer, I believe it was called. If you are looking for a more expensive item. So there are options there for him. Maybe he'll go both. Who knows? Heartsteel is going down 200 gold in cost. It has lost its ability haste. The muscle consumption is still a 30 seconds per cooldown per target. Charge up to deal a powerful attack against a champion. The charged attack deals less. It does 100 flat plus 5% bonus, plus 5% health. The old one did 125 plus 6% bonus health, so losing a bit of damage here. And grants 16, so 12 flat plus 0.6% bonus, 0.6 permanent max health, which is a slight buff early on, but enough towards later on stacking up this item. So it's not in a so overall, it's very just tied towards the champions with large health scalers. So Mundo, Tahm Kench, Scion, Cho'Gath will all really value this item. And then certain others might look to opt into it, but I believe those will be the key four. Yeah, not a bad item, but very situational. And you'll very much want to early open with this item. So something like a Barmies into Heartsteel combo. Warmogs is going up 100 gold in cost. It is losing 50 health. It has lost its ability haste for 5% movement speed. And Warmog's Heart now gain movement speed alongside the healing which you used to get at 1,300 bonus health rather than the 1.1k. Overall, kind of weird change. Warmogs in its current state is really unpopular. Like next to no champion builds this item as it's just a pretty mediocre stat line with no resist. You are still very vulnerable to like heavy chunk damage, and with the likes of Heartsteel in the game at the moment, you tend to not want to opt into Warmogs because of that. With the change as like a more movement speed tied item alongside the massive amounts of healing, I still don't see it being that strong. However, some champions might look to pick it up as an option if they do value the movement speed and really need the out of combat healing. Jaxo is being changed quite heavily. It's no longer, well, it still costs 3.2k health, 3.2k gold. It has 300 health instead of 400. The resists have gone up from 30 of both to 50 of both. It has lost the ability haste, and it no longer does damage and has for healing. It only gives you an increased amount of bonus stats, so 30% until the end of combat. Once you after 5 seconds. So I'm not a huge fan of this item. It's pretty shit on the stat line. Like, that is not a great stat line for a 3.2k gold item. And for an active, or for a passive that only activates 5 seconds into combat, also not hugely bigger on that. It is very much an item you're going to look to get very late into the game once you have a lot of bonus magic resistant armor to really like help this stack up. Overall, as a rush option, doesn't really exist anymore. Yeah, because you don't suddenly gain access to like any other tools bar a bit more armor and magic resist. So you're durable, but not gonna do a lot more past that. So which unlike a lot of other items, which gives you like damage or stacking effects, yeah, this item looks pretty bad. Especially losing the healing and the damage off of it. Titanic Hydra is staying the same in cost. It is going up 25 attack damage. It is going up 50 health. It has lost the Colossus, which is the gain attack damage equal to 2% bonus health, which is a big enough towards the item. However, the base stat line does make up for a lot of that. And Cleave is now slightly different. It has a slightly different scaler. and it now has an on activation effect. So overall, Titanic definitely more optimal as a rush option. It already was a good second, third option on current Titanic Hydra, but yeah, definitely a lot better as a rush option if you are looking to gain access to wave clear, and not a terrible stat line. 55 attack damage, 550 health is a pretty good stat line. Especially if you really value both those stats. So yeah, not a bad option for certain champions. The likes of Set come to mind for sure when rushing this option. Overall, those are my thoughts on tank items. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next one. Goodbye.